All right, Shalom, Shalom. This is the brother Mayim coming at you from GMS Tampa Bay. First and foremost, I want to give all the praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone, and much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out His truth and sincerity. And I just want to do a quick lesson, just going into this article that I have here, going into the whole SWIFT CBDCs. As these nations, continue to progress towards bringing out that image of the beast, the new world order. We're seeing, if you've been paying attention, certain things happening on the international level that most people really aren't paying attention to. And things like this, what the SWIFT is planning to launch. These are all parts of the the mark of the beast. All right, spoken about in Revelation chapter 13. All right, as a digital systems of how you make payments and how you buy things and how you sell things are going to be changed. This is all leading towards that MOTB, which is the mark of the beast, the charagma. All right, that badge of servitude, because that's going to be that badge that you're going to have to insert into yourself, to be able to do anything that's a part of this system. Okay, to be a partaker of what you're going to know as society. Okay, so it goes on. This article here is entitled "SWIFT Planning Launch of New Central Bank Digital Currency Platform in 12 to 24 months." And if you know anything about SWIFT is basically the how do you put it? The system in place to allow nations to do trade with different currencies. It basically does it's an automated service. So it's a service. They provide a service to allow nations, to allow countries to do trade amongst each other, using their currency. So, what they're trying to push is that NWO, the new world order, a one world order, where everyone's under the same systems, man. All right, so we're going to read a little bit on this article, and we'll, pull precepts out as the Spirit allows. Okay, so this is the beginning of the article. It says Global Bank Messaging Network, SWIFT, and there you go. Global Bank Messaging Network, and that's what it allows. It allows the central banks of these different countries to communicate one with another when there's funds that are being transferred from one bank to another. So it says the SWIFT is planning a new platform in the next 1 to 2 years to connect the wave of central bank digital currencies now in development to the existing finance system. It has told Reuters. So they're coming out with a controllable, a centralized currency that's going to allow these nations to do business quickly, all right, in real time, where money is going to be exchanged in real time. Whereas right now you're having to wait, you have to go through certain processes. It may take up to 24, 48 hours, however long it takes. But this is going to allow payments to be done in real time. Okay. Again, going into no man shall buy or sell. Let's see who have the mark, man. You go into that word there in the Greek is charagma, okay, which is a badge of servitude, and you go into that being the charagma or the charax, all right, which is the palisade, the instrument of how that charagma is going to be put inside of individuals, and then the root of that is what graphos in the Greek, which means to cause payment. Letters to be written on a parchment paper, which is just a collection of the data, the information that's going to be on that charagma, on that chip. Okay, so in this instance, it's going to be the financial information. Okay, so it says the move, which will be one of the most significant yet for the nascent CBDC ecosystem, given SWIFT's key role in global banking, is likely to be fine-tuned to when the first major ones are launched. And you already have various nations and countries that are either already in the works or in the testing stages of digital currencies. Okay, you have Nigeria that went completely cashless, I believe, a year or two ago. All right, China and Russia are working on the digital yuan, which is the Chinese CBDC, the centralized bank uh, currency. All right, you have India, I believe, also has a digital rupee. Okay, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But there's many other nations. In the Bahamas, they have the digital sand dollar. All right, I believe that the new president of Argentina is looking to go cashless soon as well. And here in America, they have the Fed Now coin, which they've been in the so-called sandbox stage of their programming. Where they're testing it out with certain major banks. I believe Bank of America is one of them. J.P. Morgan's another one. I'm not certain if Wells Fargo was a part of it or not, but on an international trade level, they're already doing digital currency trades to test out how this system could work and to work out the kinks. All right, and this isn't just something that started within the last few years. This has been something that's been in the works. All right, and that's why the scriptures talk about not being sober-minded. Let me get that in 1 Peter chapter 5. And verse 8, it says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour." When you read Revelation 12:12, it says, "Yeah, he knoweth that he hath but a short time." And that's why these things are being pushed forward at a faster rate now. It wasn't that long ago when you first got the little chips on the credit cards or your debit cards, where it allowed for you to just tap a card on a system instead of having a swipe, put your PIN in, which in certain instances you still have to press your PIN in, but they've been making it to where most places are more accepting of digital payments instead of cash. And then with the COVID that came, what did that give people the chance to do is to not accept cash at all. They used the notion of you could spread the germs, you could spread the disease. Okay, and all that was doing was, again, we've said it multiple times, all that whole COVID thing was just a run of who was willing to get something put inside them with no questions asked, and who would be welcoming to a new change, an abrupt change in life. Okay, and you've seen it, man. You've seen those that were with what was going on, the protocols and the policies that were being brought out in an instant, and how quickly people were wanting to adapt through the fear or through the idea of safety and peace, which that's why what the scriptures say. Let's get this in 2 Thessalonians, or is it 1 Thessalonians? I think it's, let me get it. So I can give me 1 second. Let me just pull up this precept. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. All right. All right. So, Salakia. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. It says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." So when you starting to hear these talks of peace and safety, especially, you had a lot of that, during that time of COVID, where they were promising peace and safety for those that conform to this and to conform to that. What came to that? A lot of people, started to suffer. They put numbers to it that, whether they were fully, accurate numbers or not, that's not to be seen yet. But, regardless of it, through fear, which we've been saying it for years now, fear is one of the greatest motivators. That's why the Lord said, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All right, because fear is something that causes people to conform and to make changes quickly. With fear, especially with a fear of death. So that's the instrument, that's the tools that they used, to bring about change, especially here, in America. But it goes on to say, let's go back to this article. All right, because as they're making this whole digital change, the fear of being left out of society is gonna cause people to get and to become a part of the system. Again, it being that word there from Mark in the Greek is charagma. All right, which means what? A thing inserted. Okay, so it's gonna cause you to receive that badge, that mark in you, so you can be a part of the system, man. Because that's what that's what the people are gonna want to. That's why they've been doing. They make you society ostracizes you when you're different, when you don't want to conform to the ways of this society. They ostracize you, and the scriptures talk about that. Okay, matter of fact, let's get that real quick. First Peter 4 and verse 4, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. First Peter chapter 4 and verse 4 says, wherein they think it strange that you run not with them to the same excess of rioting, speaking evil of you, man. So people think it's strange when you don't follow the norms of so-called society, man. The scriptures tell us to not follow a multitude to do evil, man. And to follow after the society to receive a mark just to be a part of it, man, that's a way that's going to lead you onto destruction. Because as the scriptures tell you, wide straight and narrow is the way that leadeth unto life, and broad and wide is the path that leadeth unto destruction, man. So the way that everybody wants to go is not the way that the Lord told us to be walking in, man. He made us out to be holy, separate. When you go into that word holy, that's all it means, is to be separate, man. That's why when these things come to pass on the earth, man, we're not fazed, because we've already withdrawn ourselves from this world, man, from how society is conforming. So it's not a difficult thing in the eyes of those that believe on Yahweh Shem Shai to not really be affected by these things. And whether they affect us or not, it shouldn't deter us, man. Okay, the scriptures talking about not even death shall take us from believing on Yahweh Shem Shai, who the world literally calls God in Jesus Christ, man. Not even death should deter you from believing, man. So when these things start to happen on the earth, man, hey, man, you gotta stand strong, man. You gotta be rooted in the Lord, man. You gotta trust in Him, because that's how drastic the changes that are gonna take place on the earth are gonna be. Okay. You got to have full confidence and trust in the Heavenly Father, man, that He's got you. The scriptures talk about how the Lord feeds the birds on a daily basis. A bird don't wake up stressing out of how he's going to eat. How's he going to feed his young ones? No, man, a bird just goes on about its business. And guess what? They eat. And the babies eat as well. So how much more us that believe on Him, that call on the Lord, man? All right. So let's go back to this article. All right. Let's go back to this. Back in this S.W.I.F.T article, it says the move, which would be we read that part. It says around 90% of the world's central banks are now exploring digital versions of their currencies. You see, 90% is a big portion. That's a majority of the nations, man. Okay. It says most don't want to be left behind by Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, but are grappling with technological complexities, you see, of how these systems are going to work in tandem with one another. And the way it's going to do is going to be with that chip, man. Everyone being a part of the same server on that same system, all right, which is that NWO, man. Okay. It says S.W.I.F.T's head of innovation, Nick Kerrigan, said its latest trial, which took 7 months or 6 months and involved a 38-member group of central banks, commercial banks and settlement platforms, which the biggest settlement bank in the world is the International Bank of Settlements. That's where these central banks get their money from, man. Which most people don't even have never heard of them. The IBS, the International Bank of Settlements. That's the world's bank. Okay? So it says 38 member groups, man. So 38 different central banks and commercial banks are working together on this, man. It said it had been one of the largest global collaborations on CBDC, central bank digital currencies, and tokenized assets to date, man. And that Neil, I forget the guy's name. But he was going into this, that's an important part that, people are missing out on, is what it means by tokenized assets to date. So your homes, okay, assets that you own are going to be tokenized, meaning easy transfer to sell. You can just sell the token and what the property goes with it. Okay. So it goes on to say, it says it focused on ensuring different countries' CBDCs can all be used together, even if built on different underlying technologies or protocols, thereby reducing payment system fragmentation risk. Yeah, man. So the processes are going to be sped up. Again, with countries doing trade, man, there's certain processes that must be followed for these transactions to take place. And what these nations have been working on is a way to do these transactions in a more fashionable manner. Okay, where these processes are more streamlined. And that's the whole idea behind the 5G network. It's going to allow these nations to make these trades and transactions a lot quicker and more surveillanced. Okay, less risk, because there's going to be people watching it in real time. All right. So, that's what's getting ready to come, man. And this is what we've been watching for, man. This is why we've been called to be sober, be vigilant, to be watching, man, to be clear-headed, because these things are taking place on the earth, man. And if you're not watching, you're going to be caught unawares, man. You're going to be caught as a thief in the night. When the thief cometh, he cometh to what? To kill and to destroy, man. And if you don't know that the thief is coming because you're not watching, then you're going to be killed or destroyed, man. One or the other. That's how simple these things can get, man. And we see the enemy camping about, casting a trench about us, man. We see these things taking place. When you go into that word trench there in that Luke 19, verse 43, it talks about the charagma. So it's the same thing, man. Now we're seeing it in the modern sense, because it took place once before in the sense of what Rome did to Jerusalem, when they cast about the trench that wasn't letting goods come in and out of Jerusalem, man. And it's going to be the digital version of that here in 2024 and 2025 if we make it that far. Okay. So, I just wanted to do that quick hit. Lord's with us was edifying. Just out here, doing this walk and talk, so I don't have too much space to go deep into this. But Lord's will, I remember I'll put this article up and maybe do a follow-up on this if the Spirit allows, and bring out a little bit more information. But Lord's with us was edifying. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, and much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out this truth and this truth and sincerity. With that, I say shalom.